The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Wow, look at that. We keep looking at that opening.
I know.
Like it's the first time that we see
I always laugh about the introduction, right?
Which is a good way to start.
Yeah.
Welcome to Table Topics. It's one more show, one more week that we get together and we're going to talk about some topics that we got the table, and I'm pretty sure John has the topics. Yeah. But first of all, I want to thank again FRC Media for provide us the possibility of us having this show. On the studio, me and John, behind the cameras, Steve and Michelle, thank you for the support of BCC for us to do this show. Well, today we're probably going to be all over the place. I know you have some international news.
Yeah, I know. Jeez,
and we probably will go a little bit about Fall River, and definitely I don't want to pass this show without the possibility of the meeting that Mr. Trump is having tomorrow. It's something that I want to hear your side on it, and how much you really believe that this is going to be resolved this time. So where you want to start it?
Well, we were just talking before we started here, and this is going on right now in the UK. There's an individual called Tommy Robinson, and he is in jail right now for 13 months. He's in jail for basically filming a group of men, and they've had this issue in the UK. They call them grooming gangs, and what these grooming gangs do is they go after kids, usually young girls. They go after them, they treat them nice, they slowly get them what we call groomed. They call it groomed here. It'd probably be something different here, but they slowly get them to like them, and then they basically push them out as prostitutes. So this has been a big deal over in the UK. Many arrests have been made. So what Tommy's done is Tommy goes before the magistrate, the courthouse, and as they're going into the courthouse, he asks them, do you feel proud of yourself, what you've done? And he has just recently been arrested, put into jail for 13 months. The amazing thing is that the British government had a blackout. None of the news organizations over there could talk about what happened to Tommy Robinson. And this is not his first rodeo. He was told not to do this, but there's a thing called freedom of speech, even in the UK. So it's just something to look out. Tommy has had, I guess you would say, a checkered past. He was part of the head of the English Defence League, and they were a little radical. Some people would even call them at times like skinheads. They weren't. I mean, I'm sure there were some members that were in there, but I think there's, I don't want to say a revolution, but there are things going on in the UK now that are coming on in this country as well. And you know, people that have lived there all their lives don't feel like it's their country anymore.
Why do you think that here on US that we've not been hearing about it?
Well, it's been a big deal. If you have Twitter, Twitter, Facebook. I watch a lot of news, or I get a lot of my news off Twitter, because the U.S. is not going to cover anything overseas unless it's something with, you know, Trump, or you're going to complain about Canada and all these different things. So, and it's controversial because they're taking away people's freedom of speech. And, you know, that's a big issue. And I think sometimes here we have that. I mean, we have folks that are liberal, folks that are conservative, and look what's happened. If somebody doesn't like the way you talk, they call it hate speech, and they drown you out, or they call you a racist. So that's kind of what's happened there, because a lot of the issues that are happening there are folks from not East Asia, but Asia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, these different countries. And check out what's what's happening there. They actually have different courts that are outside of the British court system. They have Muslim courts that they have in their countries, where they have like an imam come in and he'll determine what the sentence will be or how to work this thing out. They usually will kind of put the British court into a kind of abeyance. We're going to go before our own courts here. So it's created a little bit of dissension, with the British that are there. It's kind of like people have come into their country and created a different court system or judicial system in the country.
Yeah.
So with that, it does create problems. If anybody goes on YouTube, check out Tommy Robinson. He has a Twitter page that's been kind of quiet. Lauren Southern is another one that's has a lot on Tommy Robinson, and she's another young lady. She's a conservative from Canada. The UK would not let her into the country. They actually barred her. She came in and they kicked her out, and they said because she is someone that creates hate speech. And she's just a conservative, saying, this is what's going on here. And she's interviewed many folks over in that country. And you just have to watch it. I can't get into it too much, but it's just amazing how things have kind of turned. And we wonder why there's a backlash all over the world with different things,
Well, once in a while, we watch they do those private investigations, and they crack down some people that traffic, sex traffic. And here on U.S., and I see a couple of shows that they put together about how they went undercover and how they were able to identify those. The problem we have in here is we are dealing with countries that, for them, it's natural. It's their behavior is what they think it's normal. And that's the issue that we have, is to tell those people that that's not right, and it's against the law in our country. So that's what I think that our country is having a problem, is to put on these people's head that's not normal for a girl, a 13-year-old, get married with a 50-year-old.
It's different. I think in Europe it's worse than here, because we're more of a melting pot. But in Europe, you're English, you're Portuguese, you're Spanish, you're French, and when you have a big influx of people coming from different areas, that they're not immigrating countries. You're French, you're Portuguese, you're whatever. I mean, the countries that people immigrated to were America to go find a new life, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. But countries in Europe, this is their way of life. This is how they set things up. And when you have this whole thing come in, it kind of puts the whole country in turmoil. You're changing their way of life, how they think about things.
And just like any other country, they try to bring their heritage here. But that we okay with the festival with chorizo sandwich. That's a Portuguese thing. We okay with it. They love that. But certain countries have stuff and have things that it's not legal for us, and we always have had that problem, because it's not normal for a parent to fund his young daughter's husband when sometimes they're older than themselves. That's I don't know when in nobody's minds that will accept that as normal.
But it's a different culture. But it's kind of mixing with the British culture, at least there, where they have these gangs constantly. There'll be like 10 or 15 men that are round up, and they have kind of groomed these kids. And you don't have to be from a bad family either. Some of these kids just probably might not have a lot of friends, and they feel part of something. And that's how they get wrapped up. I was listening to a young lady on, it's called LBC, it's a British talk show, where people call in, and her thing was she had great parents, but she felt that she wanted to be part of something. She had friends, and it slowly grew into, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and next thing you know, she was basically a prostitute, like the whole time that she was with them. So it slowly, they gain your trust, and they gain your trust.
And that's exactly what happens when people get caught, and 90% of the times is the person that's breaking the law are very friendly with the youngest. So what happens is they get a good friendship going, and makes seem that's normal. That's normal. And the kid don't know better, and he falls for it. And that's what, 90% of the cases is either a father of a friend's daughter, a coach. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody that the kid is familiar with, and for them to be to engage on that activity seems like it's normal. It's a normal thing, and that's when they get in trouble.
And it is normal there. I mean, I can tell you, in Europe, we had that great migration back in 2015 to Europe, where people are just coming in from Afghanistan, Iraq, and they were just, remember we would see the truckloads or boatloads of people going from Turkey over to Greece and then trying to get to Northern Europe. And there was something that happened in Germany. It was a 10-year-old boy. He was at a pool. He went into the bathroom. A guy that was about 25 raped the young man. Well, I don't even call him a young man, the child, 10 years old. And it went before court. And do you know what his excuse was? I had an emergency. My wife's back in Afghanistan. I had an emergency. That was what the excuse was. So you've got two different worlds colliding. And, if people just really open their mind and see different things, during that whole migration, Finland, Sweden, all these Scandinavian countries, because they wanted to go there, Germany, because those are the rich countries of Europe, they actually had to put classes together with the new folks that have come in to teach them, how this is how we react. Like you can't just go up to a woman and kiss her or grab her. They had to show these different things, how things work in these countries. And I just did advisory. This is not everybody. This is not everybody.
Exactly.
But there is an issue in Europe going on.
But I did read more than once that our troops are getting in trouble on those countries because they cannot turn their face around. If they hear kids screaming, which it's normal for them to be raping a kid, our troops, they cannot turn their face around, and they get into action. And when they get into action, they breaking their laws. So our troops are getting in trouble overseas for something that nobody, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they don't even have kids. They can see brothers and sisters. They can, what I'm saying, and they have to jump in. And I cannot blame them for that. I cannot blame them for that.
But that's the case. I also blame our country here, because there was a case you probably remember, and it was a military person. They had a mom and a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old boy that was an informant, and he was informing them information. Well, the police chief of that town found out, and they abused him, raped him, hit him, assaulted him. And when the military tried to go back and say, what's going on, the kid's not talking to us, the mother blurted out that. And they went back and they wanted to say, this is not how we work. And they were pushed back saying, we can't deal with, this is what they do in this country. We can't come over here and say that. However, as an American, you look at someone just assaulted a 10-year-old and raped them. That's not normal. So, it is. It's two worlds colliding together. And that's what's kind of created people like Tommy Robinson. There's another lady, Katie Hopkins is another one. And she's even said that during interviews. She can be a little bit more hardcore and a little bit over to the other side, but when people don't recognize there are problems in the country, you create the worst of the worst then. And,
because, it was not even, I think it was about a year ago or probably 2 years ago, we did got 2 people arrested in Fall River for trafficking. Prostitutes, which was underage. And underage, we're not talking about the 10. We're talking about 15 and 16-year-olds. But they got convicted of trafficking. So it's definitely a big problem.
And it's like you said, you know what I mean? Some cultures, it's okay to marry like a 8-year-old or a 7-year-old
Yes.
or a 10-year-old. That's that culture. So when you bring that culture to your country, it creates a problem, you know. And
I don't know if you saw this video. Once in a while, this video pops up on Facebook about that old man getting married to a young kid in New York. And that's an example they put together. A man from that country with a girl from that country. They dress up and they go to Times Square to do the wedding. So everybody on that video, you know, I mean, the guy probably needed protection because somebody wants to, you know, they will hit him. They will hit him.
He might not be here. He might be back wherever he came from.
Yeah, but that was just probably put together just to see the reaction of the people. So they would not just walk without doing something or saying something. They will get into action.
But you know, I don't want to stay on this too long because I know you got other things. But you know, I just want to.
I think it's a very important.
One country, especially, I've read a lot of books on Afghanistan, and I watch the news not as much anymore, but I used to watch it. And they had a incident where the parents, there was a 2-year-old girl. The parents were away in Iran working because there's not a lot of work in Afghanistan, and the grandmother was there. A boy that was 19 years old raped a 2-year-old girl. Okay, they eventually got him in jail, but the parents weren't like, they were concerned about that, but they were concerned about what other people were going to think about their daughter, that daughter was tainted. So they had to move into the city because, you know, they would blame the child, or they always blame the women that it's their fault that these sort of things happened. There was another incident where a young lady, Iman, was, you know, trying to get money from, you know, from different people, and she said, no, you're crooked, whatever. They dragged her at the back of a car, they beat her up, they set her on fire, threw her into this river that was empty. Okay, that's the kind of, and even people in that country were like, this is crazy, but that's the sort of thing. And the police were watching. The police couldn't really get involved because it was like hundreds of people beating this woman, setting her on fire. It's insanity. So when you have that culture, but you're not going to hear on that. You're not going to watch that on NBC or CNN, even Fox. You're not going to see that. MSNBC definitely. They're not going to bring stuff like that up. You know, so there is other media out there. Twitter is a good. You know, make sure it's a reliable source. But you watch that different news. Sometimes I like just people that have their own Twitter pages or their own YouTubes, and they're just showing what's going on in the country. You know,
I don't have Twitter. I don't think I want, because I don't want to attempt to contact Donald Trump. So,
all right. Well,
that
you know
will
segue into
the next meeting.
Before you talk about the North Korean, right? The North Korean prime minister or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, so didn't we have probably about 6 or 7 months ago or 8 months ago that when the president was calling the prime minister the Rocket Man, which I don't agree with. I think it was over the top, but you know what, whatever. But didn't we hear that we're going to have a nuclear war, they're going to blow up Asia, we're going to have a problem here in the U.S.? Did we not hear that?
Yes.
Okay. Has any of that happened?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
That means that cannot happen?
I'm not saying it can't happen, but has it happened? So if I were to watch, and I'm not going to even talk about the networks, but there are a couple of networks that if I watch them, I would think the world's going to blow up. The world's not going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, let me ask you this. Reagan worked.
Did the same thing, though. He did the same thing.
Reagan worked.
Yeah.
Bush worked with him. What's going to make the difference? Trump dealing with
I think because he knows that it's no nonsense now. It's no nonsense.
I think Trump is being a little naive.
You know what, Carlos? He's the first president that's going to meet with anybody from North Korea in 60 years, 50 years? Nobody else could arrange that.
I don't trust the man.
Oh,
I don't trust the man, and I think the president is putting too much trust on this guy.
Well, I mean, look at it this way. He's put his uncles under a firing squad. He poisoned his half-brother in Malaysia. Somebody went to the airport and put poison on him right there.
So he shot his uncle just because he was not clapping.
Yeah. So, I mean, I look at it this way. I give Trump credit for him even meeting with him, because who knows what he could bring in there.
I really think that he's doing and he's putting Trump where he wants Trump to be. And I don't trust him. I think this is just for show, for show off. He's not going to do anything because he did the same thing with other presidents.
But he never met with them. He never met with them.
He never met with them, but I think this is one more cross on this attempt to, because I really don't think a guy that 2 months ago had billions of dollars spent in something, okay, when his country and people are dying hungry, puts money into that, and now 2 months after, just because he likes Trump, that he's gonna just destroy all that stuff. I don't believe. I really have a hard time believing it, and I hope that Trump don't fall where the other one wants Trump to fall in.
Okay, so do you think the last 7 presidents have done any better? So far, have they done any better?
No.
We gave them money to build these things, these nuclear weapons. We should have never given them. We gave them the means to do that, just like, look what we did with Iran, right? We're reading, and I'm not going to switch gears, but, you know, look what we did with Iran. Same thing with North Korea, what we did. So I'm looking at it that I think...
So it's one more reason when the other presidents are giving him, and he didn't follow through. This one wants to take from him, and he's going to fall through. I have a hard time believing.
I'm not counting, you know what I mean, putting my hopes on anything. I know, but he's actually, they were shooting up rockets under all the other presidents, right? And we never did anything.
No, I understand. You know? I understand all that. The only thing that I think that either Trump is being naive, or he knows something that we don't know, that he's not saying. But I really don't believe that he's gonna, on his part, that he's gonna say what he's saying that he's gonna do. I don't believe. I have a hard time. I hope I'm wrong.
If he meets with him,
but I just hope that Trump don't bring us over, you know, that line that we never went before. You know what I'm saying?
All right, this president, whether you like him or not, I don't like a lot of things he says at times. However, this president, right? Remember when he was elected?
No, you guys like everything on him.
Wait a minute.
We are the ones that don't like everything on him.
All right, so what don't you like? The economy. We have the lowest unemployment for white, Asian, black, Hispanic, for women. Hold on.
I don't believe in that.
Hold on. The stock market's gone crazy.
I still don't believe in that.
Look at even in Fall River, our economy is always lousy. We have a Starbucks here now. Houses are going the highest they've been from what I remember, right? So, and when this president got in, right after the election, the stock market was supposed to collapse. It got to the highest it was going to be. So I'm going to take
all those.
He's actually kept his word. Other presidents haven't done that. He's actually kept his word with different things he was going to do. That's what I go by. I don't go by your words. I go by what you've done.
But here's the thing. For people that vote for him, he's doing everything that he said that he was going to do.
Okay.
But these people now is saying maybe he's doing a little bit more than it did. That now it's going to come back on us.
What are they? What is he doing more? What would he do with this?
Because he wants to break all the records, and everything.
No.
He's the best, and he knows everything.
Well, it's America. America's the best.
So
why do people still come to this country? America is the best country in the world.
I will say.
I mean, I've been to different countries you've been. It's the best country in the world.
And they can sell. They try to sell the other countries. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, I think that sometimes what you say cannot be the best for the country. Just because you say it, that doesn't mean.
But
and we're going through this right now, citywide. We're going through this. Look at the bags. Now, just because a campaign, just because of a campaign promise,
we're going to need a bell. Ding, 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 ding.
But look, just because of a campaign that we're going to stop the purple bags, that doesn't mean that it's the best for us.
Maybe we should go to that because we only got a couple more minutes. So you're not going to get any disagreement with me with these
on the purple bags.
These stupid bags already or whatever else is going on. You're not going to get any disagreement.
I was surprised I didn't saw you in the front of the city council.
No,
I didn't win because I said John is not here. So
no, because I'm not going to go to any of that stuff because during the last thing around, I was the one that used to get yelled at. It's not about the purple bags, John, Sylvia. I used to get that all the time. So I'm done with that. I'm done with going before. People know how it is.
So just
you know what I mean?
Just because, and this I think that's something that the mayor's putting in front of the city council just to bring a point that the city council is not good. Because like the former mayor says, it's up to him to finish. To do it. So he's putting this on the city councils to make sure that they don't vote for it. So guess what? You are the bad guy, not me.
He's not pushing it. You know what I mean? He's not pushing it. He's letting this go how it is. I still don't have a problem with the purple bags, but you know what? I want the program scrapped unless they enforce this. And how you enforce this is, I go to your house, you don't have what you're supposed to have, I write it up, I go to your house, start the whole thing all over. I go to your house the second time, you have it up, I don't pick up your trash. You call me and complain and say, you've had 2 strikes. We don't do 3 strikes because this has been going on for like 10 years. We don't pick up your trash. If you leave your trash on the street or on your property, we're going to have the Board of Health go down there and we're going to fine you. And we're going to fine you by the day. You want to see how fast, within a week, these people conform. That's how you have to do it. If you don't do it, whatever. That's what happens.
I do agree. I mean, I was there in favor of the purple bags, not because, and I've been telling this since day one, not because of the money that we're going to raise, was because of the recycling that we were going to increase. Exactly. So that was my main thing. So if they want to stop the purple bags, they need to put something in place that's going to bring the recycling up. Because if it's not, then it's not worth it to do it. Then leave it the way it is. If you're not going to increase the recycling, then just leave it the way it is. Just put more laws on it and make sure people pay tickets.
I mean, the thing I get upset about too, and it's been brought up, your taxes only go up 2.5% every year. That's the thing I've been hearing for the last year, which has been really aggravating me because your taxes are not going up 2.5%. They're actually going up more. Mine went up like 10% last year because we have reevaluations and everybody's property is different. So last year I had a tax increase of $400, and you're going to take these stupid bags that cost me $60 a year away and tell me it's okay. You know what I mean? Everything's good. We're trying to do this, that, and the other thing. I don't buy it, and people don't get that. And even renters don't get it.
The water rent fee went for $350 to $420 now.
Yep.
So that's how much went up. So everything keeps going up. But anyway.
But one last thing before I close. If you look at it, we keep on hearing taxes don't go up, taxes don't go up. I've never had an increase of $400 in the last 25 years I've been here. So that's something for people to look at.
Exactly. Yeah. The pay, our paychecks are the same.
Yep.
The bills are the ones that are going up. And so it's
anyway.
So it's was one more show done. Thank you for being in there watching us. Thank you, Michelle and Steve, and see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you, John.
Yep. Thank you. Good night.
Keep voting for the president.